Hi, I just wanted to do a little piece about leases and how there can be, like the tenant will have all the responsibility and get fines nickel and dimed by a property manager, and then the property manager will feel like, will act like they don't have to do their part. And so, for instance, and this newest property manager in my building, if you are so the if you fail to make a payment by the 5 p.m. on the third of the month, the tenant pays a late fee of $45 plus $10 for each additional day. And and what I found is that, and they say that in their documentation, that so if you miss it, like if your payment is actually in the mailbox uh, on that third, and if it's like a Friday, they don't give you any leeway. They're still going to charge you for Saturday and Sunday, and Monday if you're late. Uh, so look for that when you're filling out a lease. Also, in this lease, they put in that they will allow themselves a $15 administration fee for coordinating work uh, required to repair damages caused by tenant. And then there's also this potential for a $35 fee associated with additional time to complete an inspection for the security deposit. And which is interesting because in this same lease, it says that the tenant will, at its sole expense, keep and maintain the premises and appurtenances in good and sanitary condition and repair. So this new landlord lease is saying that the tenant is responsible for repair. And according to the Montana Department of Justice 7024-406, the MCA, landlords are responsible for repair. So this is really an interesting lease because it's saying that that tenants are responsible at its own expense to repair, and not only that, but to keep the plumbing in repair, and any damage and cost of soft plumbing results in misuse should be borne by the tenant. Um, Here it says in this lease, no smoking inside. However, the property manager that I've been subject to has allowed smoking going on, and they were blaming me for notifying them about the cigarette smoke. So the landlord is expected by law to keep the premises fit and habitable for all tenants, and the landlord is the party charged to keep other tenants from interfering with tenants' quiet and peaceful enjoyment of the space. Uh, and another thing that's interesting is, so in this lease, they're saying that any aggressive, hostile, or abusive behavior. Now, what is that? Particularly if you look at the reviews, not only by former tenants of this property manager, but their employees have a lot of feedback. So, and it's so they say if you hurt their feelings, that you can get $100 lease violation fee as well as legal action. And also, they say we're not allowed to contact the owner of the property, that it would also be a violation of the lease. Um, and then for each lease violation, it's a $50 fee for each occurrence that involves smoking, behavior they don't like, and $35 administration fee. Now, what I would like is, so when they don't shovel the sidewalks or even sand it or salt it, when we know that there's going to be snow and ice, that shouldn't the property manager that's responsible have to pay a fine? And shouldn't they also have to pay, little administration fees? Again, so in this lease, they say that the tenant is going to be responsible for all the costs associated with replacing, like getting a replacement tenant, including advertising, marketing, costs of signage, time spent conducting showings and meetings, on phone calls, all leasing, cleaning, move-out expenses, all rent, standard charges, internet, until the tenant's new lease begins. So if somebody's not living there, how is it? Why is the former tenant who's moved out responsible for an empty space to have electricity and internet? But that's what this lease is saying. And then it goes, landlord should not be liable for any damage or injury. And that the tenant agrees to defend and hold landlord harmless of any and all claims. Should it become necessary for the landlord to employ an attorney to enforce the conditions or covenants hereof, covenants, including getting possession of the premises, rental, collection of rental. Tenant agrees to pay all expenses. Any action should be legal action brought by tenant against landlord shall all costs go with re-renting property, lost rent, moving, storing, cleaning, repairs, lease termination shall be borne by tenant. I mean, and this is a slum we're living in. Like, people do not have money, but still, like, this is a big property management company. Should it become necessary for landlord to employ collections, tenant should pay additional balance. And according to the Office of Consumer Protection, tenants are not liable for property management legal costs, as I understand. So I just wanted to give people a heads up that this property manager lease is really tricky, and there are protections under the law that does not take away the tenant's rights, and that's what these property managers are expecting renters to be ignorant and afraid. They're banking on that, and this is like totally exploitative, this lease. And it can get vulnerable people tied up. Like, innocent people are then burdened with legal stuff that they just didn't know. Like these people are like they're targeting uninformed, vulnerable people who I mean, I can barely get through this lease. And like this property manager, they didn't shovel the snow. They kept on telling me that they just couldn't get around to it. They didn't evict or move the cigarette smoker for like months. And so I was having to breathe in cigarette smoke like every other day. They had I don't know if there was some sort of work going on, but there was these major fragrances, these major odors that would happen at various times. And I'm suspecting that being that there was ice damage, that got in several feet into a wall, like 5 feet into somebody's ceiling, and caused it to cave down. I suspect that there is mold there, and I wonder if stuff that they used for sealing up the wall or cleaning it up or whatever, but that had really strong smells. And this is an old drafty building, so I don't know if it mixed with other things, but I wasn't like, the building knew well in advance when they were doing these repairs on the ice damaged part of the building below me, and they didn't inform me. They didn't do any type of put any barriers up or give me any heads up. And maybe they didn't know, but when I asked them after the fact, they said, "Oh, we haven't done anything. We haven't done anything with paint." Because I was like, "Okay, if it's not a cleaner that you're using, is it a paint or whatever?" And I mean, perhaps they just didn't know that they were doing repairs, but like I think like I could understand, but this company, they will get you every chance, every little thing, and they will not, like for having a rental check in their mail, and them penalizing you even though it's been in the mail on the day of, like that's just, and that they're just looking for every little way that they can get you. And since I've been here, they have now required renters insurance, and there's 90 people here, and I mean, I talked to several people, and they only one with a pet said that he was asked to get renter's insurance, but he wasn't. From what I asked other people haven't gotten this lease, and I'm pretty sure they hadn't gotten this lease because I got a note saying I had to sign this lease. But other people, I asked like 5 different people, and nobody has a clue about having to sign a lease like now. So there's some shady practices, and it's really stressful. It's very stressful. And kind of like the Bible says, we are fighting principalities, and this is definitely a principality. This there's a special place, and fortunately, I have God in my life, and there's I mean, I don't know. It's scary though, like when these like unfair, like shameless people are kind of in charge or whatever, or seem to be. And like what's kind of stressful in the situation is, like, here it seems like it's who and nepotism and favoritism, and rather than about justice or fairness, or like even like kind of legal, like just being legally compliant. Because I think if a tenant landlord lawyer looked at this, they would say there's illegal stuff in this. But this company doesn't care. And like what's weird and what's sad is people are like, oh, it's such a big company, like we can't do anything. We have to let it be like a mafia. I'm like, this is Montana. I thought, I mean, number one, this is America, but I mean, I thought like people in Montana weren't, I wouldn't have thought of them as kind of wimps or so brain dead or so broken, like But I mean, compared to a major city, like there would be this kind of at least wouldn't happen because there'd be highly motivated, well-informed people that would be able to um, confront these people. But anyway, so this has been my experience, and it's been really draining. And you know, I'm not a legal expert, but I can kind of tell when something's wrong, and it makes me sad. You know, sad that people are so shameless. Like these employees, like what they allow. That's what kind of gets me is like people allow stuff, you know, and I guess they like the culture now as well. You know, that's too bad. That's too bad. I have to do this horrible thing. That's too bad. In order to maintain my job, that I have to screw this person over. And I mean, I don't even think people, uh, these employees, even realize or care. And I'm like, wow, what a crummy world you live in. Um, because it's just not right. And I mean, I'm wondering if we're in a culture now of kind of like zombie, lacking any morality. People will be politically correct, but but they're not decent. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching.